Hello, welcome back to Bus Stops. My name is Nick. Let's find a picture to talk about. Gonna let it scroll through and eventually going to let it stop. I don't really know what to talk about when I've got my eyes closed and the pictures are flashing by, so maybe I'll find something interesting to think of or to say later on, but for now we'll just let the pictures slide by. We're going to talk about this one. This picture is of a wall of foliage. And this was taken springtime, I want to say. Let's talk about the seasons. I began this series when it was like late or mid winter of 2024. And so I was eager to not only capture some of the specificity of winter, but then also was excited as the seasons changed to get in a variety of pictures and types of pictures. And so as I came around to spring, as the calendar came around to spring rather, and I was dragged along by the passage of time, I wanted to get out and photograph as much of the kind of budding foliage as possible. And as I've photographed more and more, as I've lived longer essentially and looked at the seasons changing, I've developed a sense of the differences in exactly how trees look from the beginning of spring out until fall time. And this isn't just in that trees flower obviously in the spring and then they just go into a normal green leaf stage of life and then they drop their leaves in fall. It's pretty obvious, but even the difference, I think there's this moment in spring where most of the flowering trees have lost their flowers, and yet the leaves are quite fresh. And I've always found that they look perkier somehow, that they look more robust, they look more joyous in how they conduct themselves on a tree. And even the ground coverage here is verdant. It is rich and exuberant even in how it's returned to leaf after wintertime. And so this picture here, I think captures that subtle essence of spring pretty well. And compositionally, this isn't a particularly interesting photo. I'm not going to stumble through a dissection of this photo because essentially this was a photo where I was trying to get it off quickly and just find something relatively nice to look at. I mentioned in the previous episode how there were times when I'm photographing in the not as nice areas of town that I don't want to just point the camera at something trashy or abandoned or something not nice to look at. That's a discussion we can get into a lot more later and with different pictures, but I also just frankly don't want to bother people. And so when I'm standing outside of people's houses and I look like I definitely don't belong there, I don't want to point my camera inquisitively at people that are standing around minding their own business. I want to let people be to some extent, to a large extent even. And so a wall of foliage, a wall of trees is a good a place as any to not step on anybody's toes. And so this picture was taken just across the street at a bus stop. There is one street's worth of distance between me and this wall of trees and scrubby undergrowth. And so I thought that it could work because anytime you see that, it's to make a picture like this work, you need kind of a solid mass. And so this photo isn't among the most successful variations of this type of picture that I've taken. But I think that if anything can make this picture work, it is this fallen branch right here that sort of gives some notion of a horizon. I think we do see there are some out of focus trees, that little blue region back in the far distance. But we see, my eye sort of sees these two trees converging right here with this downed tree grounding it to some extent. And then of course that sort of falls over into this right-hand side where the subject matter, for lack of a better word, of the singular subject of this photo is this different colored tree, this more visible tree, which nonetheless is largely engulfed in English ivy. We see the no trespassing sign. And so I would say that nature in this instance is doing a decent job of telling someone no trespassing. These look like briars or some sort of unpleasant. Yes, that is definitely from many years of experience. There you can see a little pokey right there. From many years of experience living in Virginia, this is not the kind of thing that you would want to charge through unless you had a very strong compulsion to get to the other side. And so I don't think that the no trespassing sign is doing the actual work of keeping people out. This is poison ivy, I think. I talk about don't let me flex like I'm the all-knowing expert of foliage in Virginia. I'm horribly allergic to poison ivy, and yet I am only about 60% confident in identifying it. So you have the 3 leaves, you have kind of a serrated oval. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's poison ivy. So for so many reasons, do not walk into the woods if they look like this. That's all I can say. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.